range, and you know it's time for some WrestleTalk. And coming up is the WWE Draft, the annual draft. And this time we only got two brands to worry about since, you know, ECW is now defunct. Got Raw and SmackDown. And what we're going to do, we're going to go through our top 5 picks. And, go start by number 1, for each one of us, we're going to talk about it. So, Chris, who's number 1?
What we going from Raw to SmackDown or SmackDown to Raw?
Both.
I mean, you saying...
Let's start with Raw.
Let's start off with Raw.
Start
with
Raw.
Raw. Yeah. Who's going to Raw?
Who's going to Raw? First person going to Raw would be, well, not one person, but a faction, Straight Edge Society.
Alrighty.
I would agree with that. I'm going to say CM Punk would go to Raw as number 1.
And I, too, will agree with CM Punk is going to Raw. And the reason why I'll say that is because CM Punk, over this past year, to me, has become one of the top heels in the company. If you have seen, his promos that he cut with Rey Mysterio, of how he messed with his family, you would understand why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe he's going over there because, he's always talking about the people. And he always wants to bring, fans from the audience to join the Straight Edge Society. And then the way they have Cena going, Cena is the face for the people.
Mm.
So, that to me, that'd probably be the next feud that John Cena probably have. And, if they bring in CM Punk, you would think that they would bring Luke Gallows and Serena over with them. If they don't, then that's going to hurt both of them. But more than likely, they should all come.
Yeah. All right. Number 2, heading to Raw.
Number 2, heading to Raw, I'm going to say John Morrison. I believe John Morrison will go to Raw. I think him and The Miz for the U.S. title, I think that, The Miz is already up there. He's on his way. And I believe Morrison, he has the talent and everything, but he just still doesn't have the mic skills yet. But him and The Miz, going back and forth, they could develop good chemistry. Good feud.
I want to say Dolph Ziggler will be the number 2. I believe that Dolph has not made a single real lack of effort on SmackDown, and he just hasn't had that opportunity. So I think moving to Raw would give him that chance to maybe fight with The Miz as for that U.S. title. Possibly even if he has if he gets chances to work on his in-ring style and his mic skills, that he may have a chance to go after John Cena. Maybe as a lower third kind of heel kind of guy, not as the main type, but just kind of like a bug on the shoulder.
Right.
So.
And my second one, with Chris going along with John Morrison, and one of the things they pointed out, the mic skills. John Morrison, he still, needs, development. He has a natural charisma, due to his looks, but and his in-ring, ability as well, stands out, amongst the others. So which is why, I believe he's going to Raw. But that's one of the things, but when you go to Raw, you are live, so you need to work on those mic skills. All right, number 3, heading to Raw.
Batista heading to Raw. Because, he's still considered on SmackDown. So I would figure that he's going to go to Raw, and more than likely he's going to go to Raw, and then after they say his contract's coming, about to get ready to end this coming summer, so after his contract ends, I believe that's when CM Punk and Cena will come into the mix. Or, they might do an angle to where Batista gets hurt at the pay-per-view,
yeah.
And then that might bring CM Punk and Cena to start it off. But either way it goes, Batista's leaving pretty soon, and they don't know whether he's coming back. So I would figure that he'll probably get drafted to Raw and let Cena take him on out and be that top person. Yeah. Be the top person, and then the next person that come in behind Batista to that top hill will be CM Punk.
Yeah. All right. My number 3rd pick will be, it's going to be either JTG or Shad. The guys used to come up with Crime Time and now has fallen apart. And they kind of tried to make a little bit of a rivalry out of this one in SmackDown, and it fell through very quickly because it just didn't work out. It wasn't getting as much attention as one of the big rivalries on SmackDown. So I think that either one, JTG or Shad, will go to Raw. I'm not sure which one exactly, but I think if I had to pick one, I would say Shad, because he has that heel kind of mentality after really Hurt putting a beat down on JTG, and I think that Shad has the capability of possibly trying to raise his game up a little bit, maybe go after an individual title. So you have to watch out for Big Shad coming to Raw.
And speaking of Shad coming up on Extreme Rules, him and JTG will be fighting in a strap match.
That's a pretty big push.
Yeah, it's a pretty big push for both of them actually. But I figure with this match in particular, Shad will probably whoop JTG's ass. But my third pick is actually the Hart Dynasty. If you were able to watch WrestleMania 26 and see how pretty much the Hart family whooped up on Vince, not Bret Hart, but the whole Hart family, including Tyson Kidd, even though he's not related, but hey, he's dating Natalia, so what can you say? Tyson Kidd, when he was outside with Vince, he was wailing away on that man. So, you could, I'm not going to say that, Vince is going to get so involved with the Hart Dynasty, but I say that both, him and David Hart Smith and Natalia will get traded to, drafted to Raw, and you may see, them, go more with the Big Show and the Miz, competing with them again for the Unified Tag Team titles. Seeing how they're having this angle, how Bret Hart has to say that they're the best tag team of all time. He's not really going to say that, but hey, you never know what can happen in WWE. All right, your number 4.
Ziggler. I think Ziggler would be another person getting drafted to Raw. I mean, he's had a pretty good run over on SmackDown, but for him, I think it's just a new scene. I think it's just nothing but a new scene to bring another technical wrestler to Raw. Maybe that'll give Raw a little bit more ring time rather than backstage and all the guest host and all that. So I think for him it's just a fresh new scene. I mean, he was pretty good mid-card over on SmackDown. I mean, he never really got into that title hunt. But, I mean, in Raw, I think he might not get right there, but he'll be just that next mid-card that's ready to get into that title hunt for the U.S. title.
All right, my number 4 pick is going to be Chris Jericho. I think that he's getting kind of pushed out of the way of this 3-way rally between Edge and Jack Swagger for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I think that he may need to go and move out of Raw. And that way, whoever comes from Raw to SmackDown, probably CM Punk maybe, will be mixed in for that World Heavyweight title. And so I think, especially with Jericho's ribs, it's been really hurting on him. And he keeps wearing those wraps around his stomach all the time. I don't know if it's just for looks or if it's actually really hurt. He may be getting on the shelf for a little bit, maybe a short time. So I think he'll be getting a good, smooth transition into Raw for the coming weeks.
All right, and because I feel the Raw roster, believe it or not, the Raw roster is actually a little bit smaller than the SmackDown roster. So I feel it may be beneficial to Raw to have somebody that may be on the shelf for the moment drafted over, and that's why I'm picking Ezekiel Jackson because he's currently injured. But I still feel as if that he, being the last CCW champion, he has a lot of stock, he has a lot of upside to him. And I feel like if he can get on Raw, he can get into a good feud, a good mid-Carter feud, he can rise above. Your number 5.
My number 5, I mean, I'm pretty sure that Raw have more than 5 picks, I'm sure, but to me, I believe the next pick that's more likely to go either be Kane or Edge. I think Edge with Triple H might be going heel this summer. Edge might be that second face under John Cena, and then if not Edge, I believe Kane. Kane just gets tossed back and forth every way he goes. So I think they do need a big face, like a monster face, to just to have somebody on there to face an up and coming heel. And I think Kane would be the one to put him over.
All right, Wes.
My 5 pick would be Beth Phoenix, Diva. I think that moving her to Raw gives her an opportunity to face, it's Michelle McCool, it's on
Eve.
It's Eve that's now the women's Divas champion on Raw. And I think that moving her over will give big competition for Eve, especially, with her moving in that first pay-per-view. I think that will set up a big-time match on the women's side, and you'd be looking out for Beth Phoenix going to Raw.
All right. I'm actually going to give you my 5, and I actually have a surprise number 6. My number 5 actually will be JTG, and actually for him, it's more like he'll be a jobber.